Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah.
What?
Nani. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're awesome. We have 79 subscribers. So
Yay.
we are listening to some all lowercase letters.
The Dreadies.
Yeah, so this is after hours, and this is the first time that we're streaming to non-Twitch stuff. I'm trying to make sure it works. Yeah, in after hours, we're going to talk about the game that we play, the DreadLore game we play called the Red Writ. Nobody?
Yeah.
The Red Writ.
The Red Red.
The red
And
red.
yeah, it is. And all sorts of geeky stuff and these sorts of things. And this episode will run about 15-20 minutes. That's what's going to be for the YouTube. And if you want to get the full episode, jump on our Patreon, which is in the description and all that good stuff. We'll do a brief introduction from everybody. Who are you guys?
I'm Daniel.
Andrea Elliott-Johnson. Oh, go ahead.
I'm Daniel Holker.
Oh, spot
I'm
on from
Ken.
earlier.
I'm Ken Howl. How are you doing? How y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
Muck banging and everything. Get them sandwiches in your mouth.
And who
I'm
else?
the Drizzle.
The Drizzle.
Yep.
So you guys are the cast of the Red Writ. What happened tonight? I'm gonna eat chicken, so you guys tell me what's up.
Yeah.
Well-
What happened?
This is following episode session 14 of the Red Writ, where we went to the warehouse and stuff from Jack Napier's. We went to the warehouse, so that if you're trying to correlate this to that, it's a good way to do it.
I'm
Yeah.
correlating all of the buttons. That was a tough episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, like, I had my emotional thing already wrapped up. I knew what I was going to do. I did not, like, when Nord went in there and he started getting emotional, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I already knew what I was gonna do, so I was like, I'm gonna compound on this emotional thing going on here.
Dude,
so,
there was
yeah.
a moment. There was a moment, Ken, where I was like, "Oh shit!
Yeah.
Did I just hit a button?" Because I mean, it's a death of someone who's 16, and it's a fucking suicide.
Sure.
Is what it is.
No, the suicide was touching, and that was what got me. I mean, if I've
You did a thumb down.
Oh. Suicide. Don't do it. If you are having thoughts of suicide, please dial, what is it, 811?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know what the
811's called before you dig. Of course, I suppose it's applicable, but
It's 988.
988. 988.
Yeah, dial 988 in the States. If you're outside of the States, I don't know what to do. Just
if
call
you're
friends.
thinking about suicide,
Don't do it.
And the question is, do you truly want to hurt yourself? And if the answer is yes, then you should definitely talk to someone. You owe, in my opinion, people that, and yourself that. That said, this is pretty tough, and there was a moment where I was like, oh shit, did I actually hit a button with this story on Ken? And I kind of sort of felt bad for a moment, a little.
Well,
on the stream, I couldn't know. I saw myself because I'm watching the stream. I happened to look over and I was literally doing this. Like, and the reason is because for the story to actually affect people, that's, especially remote, that's huge. That's like,
well,
I mean, you don't want to go too far, but
I knew it was going to be emotional for Simon, and then when it started to get emotional for Nord, I was like, because I started to tear up a little. Yeah, but I mean, I knew that moment was going to mean a lot to Simon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to take that away from you.
Well, no. You weren't. You weren't taking it away from me. It was both of us in our moment there. Because
our little middle-aged white dude moment.
Yeah, but it meant. I mean, right now I'm starting to. My eyes are tearing up at thinking about it because it meant something in the story.
It does mean something. It was intense, and we had hope.
Yeah. Simon definitely did. Like Drizzle knew that she was dead.
Yeah.
But Simon thought that he could save her.
I knew she was dead the last episode. I mean, it made sense that she was dead. I mean, we walked into, and we were talking about it, like, as we were walking in. It's just like, I got no hopes for this. Like, this chick is, she's passed on.
Well, and I mean, Simon's whole thing has been that he was to try to save them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And even though she said that we did save her, and she did technically not get wrapped up in the curse or whatnot, it's still...
Bill?
We didn't save her life.
Why didn't you make Simon roll a sanity when he saw Gabby?
Because two things. One, Simon rolled sanity when he saw the ghost of Gabby and actually interacted with it. Two, in that scene, because of the way that the two players, which being you and Drizzle, approached that scene, to drop in mechanics would have potentially ruined the scene.
It would have broke the scene. It would have
like I don't want the mechanics to drive what's going to happen. Instead, they're like sprinkled. They're like spices. After you've reacted, after all that stuff. So next game, once Simon can like think about things, that's when it's like, oh, and by the way, roll sanity. And that allows him to be like, oh, and this makes sense what happened.
It would have broke the emotion. Because we had the emotion in that scene.
Yeah, so... like that had nothing to do with me. I think is the main thing. Like I could be like, hey, what do you bid when you walk in there? But like, you guys were just doing it naturally. You made that decision. And it was just really, it was powerful. So that's why.
Leah, does Leah care about Mariah? To the safety of Mariah?
I mean, in her own way, she does, because right now she sees these people as basically a direct threat to Mariah. So she feels the best way to keep Mariah safe is to just straight up eliminate the threat. That's one of the reasons why she basically she didn't she didn't go out of her way to try and just like dose Grimwald to get him to be compliant and answer her questions. She was going for the jugular and the fact that he would be compliant for a time was added benefit, because basically at this point she, particularly when she saw him with the arm running out of the building, not necessarily knowing that it was Gabby at the time, she basically felt regret at not having killed him in the first place. After he tried to drug her and Nord. And clearly he was not a good guy. So she feels maybe responsible in a way for anything that he's done since then. And she doesn't necessarily know what he's done, but she knows that he's not a good guy. So she feels that she should have killed him from the outset.
And well, I mean, he had an arm.
Yeah.
to experiment with it in some way. I mean, anybody who takes an arm off a body, dead or no, and it's like, I'm gonna make a run for it. We'll see what we can do with this. I think there's something above and beyond. I think at that moment, if he'd lingered, Nord had a shotgun and would have probably just opened it, if he'd seen Grimwald for more than a few seconds. So yeah, no, I feel you there.
He was pretty unapologetic as well.
Yeah, he was not. Did we learn anything else in this episode?
Well, one of the things that I guess I kind of feel conflicted about is the maybe the gloves, the blue hand people aren't our enemies, in the sense that I can, obviously Leah hasn't necessarily put this together, but as a player, I'm like, wait a minute, have they been basically tailing us because they think we're involved? Because, like, from an outside perspective, it looks like we could be, particularly with, Marcus having been involved in some way and him, showing up on my doorstep. Does it look to them like we're with, Lady Callie, so that's why they've been tailing us the whole time, So it's like, that's one thing that kind of was like, oh,
yeah,
well.
and we did kill 2 of them.
Yeah.
We did kill 2 of them. I mean, I feel like if we weren't, maybe there was a way to save, but I feel like we did start a war with them. Otherwise, if they ever find out, like, about what happened, and how their guys died.
The 12 and the 7.
We did clear up the crime scene a little bit, hopefully. So it is possible that that we did hurt potential allies, but clearly they're shady in their own right.
Did you guys what's the question I'm asking?
We did.
You did. I had a really good question. It just went out of my brain because I had a second question. The question was this. Hey Tony, what did you think?
Okay, first thing, during the break, I looked it up. It was not the Foeva. It's actually the Tapetum lucidum.
Everything's
in mammals.
Everything's broken now. Hulker was wrong.
Sorry about that. I had to put that out.
I would like Tony to remove a pip.
That's fine. I deserve that. I screwed it up.
I don't know. I feel like I should remove pips. I get it.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have to go ahead and go to bed, but I'll see you guys next time.
Can I ask you one quick question though?
Sure.
How does Andrea feel about Simon and Leah's argument from earlier?
I mean, that's a complicated question. I mean, like, from an in-game perspective, it makes perfect sense. For me, it's not... Triggering is not the right word. As someone who is very much a believer in the supernatural and has experienced a lot of spooky shit in my life, it's somewhat frustrating to me that it's one of those kind of things. Like, it's a very difficult thing to come up with like an actual argument for somebody who is going to rationalize away anything. Like, you can't break somebody of that, really. They kind of have to decide to, change that mindset themselves. So it's like a very kind of, it's a frustrating feeling. Not in a bad way, like in terms of the game, just like knowing that there really is no way to actually convince Simon. He has to convince himself that, weird shit is going on.
And in game, the 2 times that Simon's broke has not been around Leah.
Yeah.
They've both been around Nord. Like, especially there at the end where he was talking about, she told me she was okay. Because that's him actually acknowledging that he was talking to her spirit. Well, he thought there was something going on there that he didn't think it was necessarily her spirit, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was just curious.
Particularly since, obviously this is something that'll come into play next game, but the fact that, there's clearly evidence that she's been dead for at least a day or 2.
Yeah.
By logical deduction, you had to have been either hallucinating or talking to her ghost.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Simon's still he was covered in drugs at that time.
Yeah.
So that's the way Simon's gonna argue it.
But
But he knows that he may not argue it as much. Basically. Like, now he's pissed.
Yeah. Fair.
Now you're all ready for blood.
Nord does give Simon a lot of, because Nord is kind of a scientist, and he does break things down. He wants to believe too, and he's got to be able to not lie to his readers. So he comes up with ways to try not to lie. But as much as he lies, he does have some journalistic integrity. So I think he keeps Simon connected to the reality, the real world, a little bit.
Real quick, for a bit of a break, we're going to continue streaming. However, if you want to see the rest of the stream, jump on our Patreon, patreon.com/dreadlore, and you can get the rest of the stream. If you're live with us, then you're going to, of course, get the rest. But if you're watching this after it's posted, the rest of the stream is on Patreon. Okay.